let's talk about the secondhand marketplace. Basically, I almost exclusively buy my knives secondhand. I find that it is just a lot cheaper, and a lot of knives are just not currently in production or they're just hard to get your hands on. And so the secondhand marketplace is a really good way of getting knives a lot cheaper. Some knives can get marked down significantly, and I'll get into that. But first, where do you buy and sell knives? I like to do Instagram. Instagram has at Balisong Marketplace, or is it just at Balisong Market? It is a account where you can, hello, it's an account that you can tag and um, you can tag them and you can make posts adding them, and they will share on their story a bunch of sales. WTS stands for want to sell. WTT stands for want to trade. WTTF stands for want to trade for. And ISO stands for in search of. WTB is also want to buy. So typically, that's a good place to search, and it's semi-public if you have an Instagram account. All you need is an Instagram account, but if you got one, then it's public. There's also private Facebook groups which you can join. It took me a while to get accepted into some of them just because some of the admins just weren't really checking invites, or they were just slowly letting people in because there are a lot of scammers, so do be aware. There are also Discord groups. There's Balisong Community, which I don't personally love, but the sales posts there are pretty solid. And I've also been in the Will Hirsch Discord, which I believe is public. And then there's Reddit, which I've never tried, but it's an option, and I've heard some people have good success, but I don't use Reddit. And so when you are looking for a specific thing, it's nice to use ISO, but sometimes you can just find good deals. Lately, it is a buyer's market, and so just a lot of people just are having a hard time selling knives. If you are trying to get in, this is a good time because sales, woohoo! So let's go into this further. A lot of places will have you take a picture of your knife with your handle or your name or whatever you're using, and they will also have a timestamp. And so that is, prove the legitimacy that you actually own it. Not all places do, but it's helpful, and make sure that if you are talking to someone that doesn't have something like that, sometimes you can ask for videos. Like I'd be like, hey, can I get a sound check, and then or can I see like up close and various things. And so sometimes people will like just be like, oh, here are the flaws. Like let's say this one, here's some flaws on this handle. Personally, it's pretty minor. Typically people are upfront and honest, but again, do your due diligence. If someone is selling, a lot of people have reference posts. I have a public reference post on my Instagram. I was reluctant at first because it is technically an audio account, but let's be real, I just do enough business that it's just like, why bother? And so I finally have a reference post. And so when you make deals with people, you can, leave feedback. And if someone has, if you really want to do due diligence, you can reach out to people and ask those who have left comments, hey, have you done business with this person? And what was it like? Blah, blah, blah. And usually they'll corroborate. I've had people reach out to me about certain individuals, Eric. And so, yeah, if someone doesn't have a public post or they have very few references, it can be helpful to reach out to those that they've done business with just to corroborate. It's important to be safe because there are scammers, and so better safe than sorry. I'd rather take a deal. I'd rather a deal take a while than to lose a bunch of money. And there's just some assholes out there. So be aware. Don't get scammed. Let's say that you're doing business with someone or you're interested in something that they're selling. Uh, I'm gonna do a disclaimer here. I am Chinese, and there's a lot of stuff with money and finances that's just kind of baked into Chinese culture. This is a semi-cultural thing, and some people are they're very sensitive about money. Um, so people will usually post a price. Sometimes they'll just say DM for offers or whatever for more information. But a lot of times, let's say someone's selling a Kraken for 200. Let's say they have a mint 2.5 Kraken for $200. You can reach out to this person. You can DM them. Sometimes people don't always see their DMs if it's not from someone they've already talked to before. So if they have a post, you can comment, do that. I don't know why this is just not focusing. focus, please, on me. And so, um, this is where there's a lot of cultural divide. I am a negotiator. This has upset some people. Um, Namely, a person that I have done business with several times actually blocked me on both Instagram and Facebook Messenger because they felt like I was insulting them with some of my offers. If you are, I'm interested in something, but maybe I'm not that interested in, I will lowball. And that's, I don't think inherently bad. I think negotiating is totally normal. I'm also a freelancer, and I believe that you should charge what you're worth. Yeah, there's some people who I think I charge maybe a bit more than I would pay for. Maybe I find like it's really overpriced. But I also, as an independent, freelancer, I understand that you got to make your money, and sometimes you just got to price high, and you're gonna filter out a lot of people, and that's just business, baby. And so when I negotiate, you send an offer, and then they send a counter offer, or they just say no, in which case, sure. And so I usually send a lower offer because I want to see if there's wiggle room for negotiating. I want to see how low can you go, and if you're really looking to sell, or you don't want to, that's fine. You don't have to take my offer. The whole thing is, an offer is just an offer. And so I'll send an offer, and then people will sometimes counter offer, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle, or sometimes they hold firm, in which case I'll just walk, and that's just business. And so, sorry, I I I lowballed someone hard enough that despite us doing business several times, he blocked me, and I was like, well, that's kind of a bummer. But I guess that's partially a cultural thing. Some people, they price to sell because I don't know, maybe they have car issues and they need to replace parts, or they got to take it to the mechanic. My friend's dog got sick, and so they had to, unfortunately, had to sell things. So sometimes people will price things so they can sell. And so if they are trying to negotiate, sometimes it's just more important for them to move it faster rather than to just dwell on a couple of bucks. Some people will get really stingy over $20 sometimes, and some people, I don't know. I, on the other hand, am someone who I have savings, and so I'm never so tight that if I'm selling a knife, it's because I really need the cash. If I'm selling a knife, it's because I just don't want it anymore, or I'm just looking to trade it, see what else I can get, and, just trying a bunch of things that I haven't had before. So I usually try and leave my price pretty close to what I think is uh, a reasonable secondhand sale price. Sometimes if it's mint condition and it's not being made anymore, I'll start it at like the retail value, and I'll say OBO, which stands for or best offer, expecting people to negotiate. And I don't know why, but I guess a lot of people are just allergic to the art of negotiation. If you're Chinese, it's just, I don't know, it's just normal. It's common. It's just a thing that you do. And so, sorry if I've upset you, but I don't know. I'm pretty aggressive with it, and I'm a pretty aggressive freelancer with how I price too. So I don't know. Anyways, OBO means or best offer. Some people will reach out to you and be like, "Hey, are you open to trades?" Sometimes you can say yes. Sometimes people just say no trades up front. Sometimes people do partial trades where they say this knife is really expensive, but can I trade you another knife that's less money and add cash on top? I also do payment plans where people can just pay me X money a month, and then when it's all paid out, then I ship it to them, and it's all hunky dory. Because some grails are expensive. And so if you're just going to be using not a lot of people just have a grand lying around for kicks. And so sometimes I'll be like, hey, I can do like $100 a month, and yeah, it could be like 10 months, or we could do every other week. However long it takes you, I don't mind. I'm just chilling. And so that's an option. Some people are not a fan of that. A lot of people also, when they do exchanges, they'll do F&F, which is friends and family. So when PayPal, if you pay money to someone and you do F&F, the person who receives the money gets all of the money. However, if you want to be very cautious, you can do goods and services, and then the other person will lose money, and so sometimes you'll just have to pay a little bit more to make up for the money that they lost. But if you really don't trust someone, you can just be like, hey, I'm going to do goods and services, and then make up the difference that you don't get. Some people might be okay with that. Just, feel out your options. So if I'm pricing a knife, I usually have OBO, or I'll do a range or whatever. Range doesn't really work. Or I'll say I'm looking specifically for these knives. Like, oh, I had an Empress, 600 for the Empress OBO. And very seldom do I just get all the cash up front, but sometimes, a lot of times people tend to trade because, let's be honest, trading does not involve spending more money. You just have the money that you already spent, and some people are able to cash out, but mostly because it's a buyer's market, trading is more effective than to actually sell. And so if you're just trying to try different knives, like that can be a really effective way of getting new things. But some people just really need cash, or they just only want cash, and they're not interested in trades. Um, so typically, if something says OBO, feel free to counteroffer. What you want to counteroffer with is up to you. Whatever you think is reasonable. I try to counteroffer something by like $60, and I got that guy blocked me. And some people, if it's like really expensive, like if it's like some knives are worth like $17.50. I tried to sell this knife for $17.50, and then I did. But some people would counteroffer, being like 1,000, and I'd be like, no thanks, whatever. And it wasn't like unreasonable, but it was much lower than what I hoped. And so thankfully I did find a buyer that was willing to pay the full price, and that was a great transaction. And then that person, no, I think it was someone else, but basically, you sometimes you'll just have people that you'll regularly do business with, and people that you trust. Sometimes you cut deals for other people just because, hey, you're someone I trust, I know you, and I'm willing to go lower for you specifically. That's just business. And so, like, the thing about the secondhand market is that it's literally just a bunch of individual people making exchanges. I'm sure there are other places. I think there's like the Jersey Devil forums, but I don't know if that's really active anymore. And there might be groups, like there's a website that's dedicated to selling and posting sales, and they take a cut. I don't know how effective that is. So it's just, I don't know. I find that mostly Instagram, Facebook, and sometimes I use Discord are effective ways for me to buy and sell knives on the secondhand market. And again, I would like to apologize that if anyone took offense of any of my offers, I play hardball. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but I don't know. It's a cultural thing. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you. Unblock me, Aaron. Anyways, that's that. And yeah, I guess right now I'm currently trying to sell a Carlo for $650, which is kind of close to retail, or it is retail price, but that's OBO. So if you have a counter offer, I'm willing to hear it. I can do partial trades and payment plans too. So also check out the coffee in the description if you found this helpful. I had some people ask me, how do I sell knives, or if I could sell knives for them, and I'm just like, what? I mean, like, I guess, but like, I don't know, it's effort and it's work. It's not easy to sell knives, so I don't know. But you can check out the coffee if you found this helpful. Donate a couple bucks. It's like a single Patreon payment, but it doesn't renew. It's just $3, $5, or whatever. Like this video, comment, subscribe. If you have anything that you want to comment, let me know. Yeah, I don't know if you have any advice for good business practices and how to not get caught by scammers. Go for it. And yeah, be safe out there. Spend your money responsibly, unlike me, who's a fucking idiot. So, yeah, have a good one. Happy flipping. Oh god, my voice. I'm still trying to. I had COVID 1 month ago, and it's still like. Good night.